Bret, are you done with that pizza, or can we do a podcast? Welcome to another episode of Let's Rewatch, the podcast where we like to watch movies we loved in our youth and see if they're actually still any good. I'm Nick.
I'm Bret.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Ash.
And today we have a bonus Sam. We have Sam Hurley from the Movie Reviews in 20 Qs podcast. Hey, Sam.
Hey, how you all doing? Thank you so much for having me.
Doing very well.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure.
Yeah, this is going to get a little bit weird since we have multiple Sams this time. I'm sure we'll figure out some sort of shorthand as we go.
There'll be all sorts of Sam I Am jokes. And
You can just call me Willson.
there you go.
She's
pretty
basically
good idea.
just a human beach ball.
It was a volleyball. Shut your fucking mouth. Jesus.
And this volleyball has standards. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah. God.
Is this a podcast with Jerry Springer?
yeah.
A little bit of both.
Awesome.
I'm sorry, but can you guys go as that for Halloween now?
Do the Castaway
please.
costume.
This is a good. Brett, this would be good. Yeah, Brett has the beard.
Yeah.
All you need to do is put some
Grow
red
it
paint
out.
on your hand and
On
then
your
just
face.
slap her in the face.
Yeah.
No.
Is
All right. Good
Anyway.
idea.
that a bad idea? So yeah, Ash, you were on Movie Reviews in 20 Qs, weren't
No.
you? Oh. That's funny. I thought you were. We can cut
No.
this out.
This is an incredibly touchy subject at the moment.
Sorry.
No.
I like how you're pitching me to be though.
Oh, yeah.
Sam. No, just kidding.
Yeah, I can take a hint, man. On here.
No,
That's funny.
we connected on Sam and I connected on Twitter,
Yep.
and we both were like, hey, we both have movie podcasts, and I can't remember if you asked me or I asked you, but somehow we were like, let's collab and
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
invited him on the show.
It was literally about a week before me and my fiance, who does the show with me's sort of pre-honeymoon. We were right about to go to Europe and spent 5 weeks traveling around there, so it was like the worst timing ever. And then when and then when we got back, we didn't start podcasting again till February, and so we've only sort of started up again. So yeah, we'll start definitely getting in guest hosts and stuff like that soon. So yeah, that's our life story.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So your show is all about reviewing current movies based on a series of questions?
Yeah. So what we do...
Or is it only current movies?
No, not necessarily current movies. What we try to do current movies that everyone's seen. So, for instance, we did like Black Panther, but at the same time we try to do movies that everyone hated. So we did Baywatch as well recently, which was quite a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
But
People
so
liked it.
yeah, so what we do is we take a movie. It's just got to be a popular movie, and then we ask 20 weird and wonderful questions about it. So we'll try and do poignant questions or funny questions, or weird, bizarre questions. Like we'll do what flavour pizza is this movie, or which character clearly needs to get laid, or like what sex scene are you disappointed not to get, and you have a lot of fun between it. So yeah.
Awesome.
I loved your, you guys did Baby Driver, and I loved one of your questions was, what would your getaway playlist be?
Oh yeah, totally.
That was
So
a fun
good.
question. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun with that one. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah.
I feel like I'd have to take a lot of time and really cook that.
Yeah.
I know.
Seriously.
You gotta put some work into that.
I think they prepare.
Yeah.
That feels like an important question.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to get that shit wrong.
No, you don't. You
No.
absolutely don't. And it's funny because quite a lot of our fans will listen to an old episode and then like just send us messages and be like, "Why the hell did you not pick this out of that?" And you're like, "Mate, I literally had the question about 5 minutes before the podcast, and you're trying to make funny on the fly. You don't really have." Like everyone that comes on brings a different flavour, and we've got one guy that like prepares and does really well and all that sort of stuff, and then we've got other guys that will submit their questions literally a minute before we start recording and all that sort of stuff. So you do have a bit of time to prepare, and we've tried to make it easier on people by having a standard set of 10 questions at the start, and then having their own personal questions that people like to ask. And sometimes we do go through them and do like a bit of a spitball of what's funny and what are you going to say and all that sort of stuff. So quite often during the podcast, you'll hear my fiance go, "Oh, blah, 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 this is my answer." And then you'll hear me just go, "Wow, that's like a really good answer. That's amazing." And that's usually us. We've got halfway through the recording and she's like, "I've got no idea what this is about, babe. I don't remember this movie." And I have to throw something at her. She's a gem, but she's She's definitely a person that goes and watches a movie and then literally remembers nothing of it 10 minutes afterwards. So.
Oh my God, that's my boyfriend too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that sounds like me.
So
I forget movies if they're bad.
So it's really hard to record a podcast with her when you ask her, like, who are your 3 favorite characters that you'd want to take with you on a road trip? And she's like, what? You know, and she often has the cast list in front of her, so it's quite cute because you'll be sitting there furiously reading it, and I'm just sitting there just saying, don't say anything. It's easier for me to edit if there's long patches of silence, so just don't say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, if you were to ask her that question after, I don't know, Rogue One,
Yeah.
like I've asked people directly after Rogue One, name a character,
Oh yeah.
and nobody can.
The blind monk.
There you go. And his name would be?
The blind
In a
monk,
memorable Star
obviously.
Wars movie,
Ip
his
Man.
name a
would
character?
be irrelevant.
Ip Man.
Irrelevant.
So there are some movies with woefully
I can name
unrememberable characters.
K2, but that's because he's
K2SO.
Yeah,
a
K2SO.
lovable robot.
What
that
about,
has
like,
emotions?
Jan
Remember
something?
Cassian because K2SO says Cassian made me.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh
that's,
yeah,
that's all I
Cassian.
got. Yeah.
I don't even know the main girl's name.
Yeah, it's a problem.
Oh no.
It's a problem.
Elizabeth.
Anyway.
I don't know.
I'm literally blanking as well, and I'm a massive Star Wars nerd. I've forgotten her name.
I think her name's Sam.
It's Jyn
It's Sam
Erso.
3.
Jin
Jyn
Erso.
Erso, that's the
Okay.
one, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, that's her dad. That's not her, though.
Yeah, that's her.
What?
Her dad's name
And
was
I remember
also
because I've looked
Ursa.
this up because I had to.
Well, okay. Her name is Jin, really?
Jyn.
Yeah,
not
Jyn.
like Jennifer.
There's-
Or maybe it's
Yeah.
Jennifer.
There's so many Star Wars fans dying right now listening to this. Just dying.
Yeah.
Well, it's not my fault that the characters are unmemorable.
I'd like to
Right.
think that there's a whole bunch of Star Wars fans going like, yeah, I can't remember anything.
Yep.
I hope so. There's going to be a lot of hate mail, yeah.
Yeah.
So, Sam, obviously you're from New Zealand,
Yep. Born and raised, yep.
which I think we can all agree is the best Zealand.
It is. It's the newest one.
The new one's always better.
You don't want to go to Old Zealand, yeah.
Nah.
And this really got me thinking, and I don't even know if this is an answerable question, but I'm curious how different are your experiences growing up with movies? You know, we have very specific movies that define our childhood. Are they different for people in other countries?
Oh yeah, totally. So we get a lot of Hollywood influence. We get a lot of British shows and movies and stuff like that. So we sort of get raised on that, and it's fascinating because it's really our insight into America. You know, like for me, for instance, I watched American Pie and movies like that, and I'm like, oh man, if you go to America, chicks just want to sleep with you the second you like walk into a party. Like this must be the best place on the planet and stuff. And then when I did a trip around New York up to Boston, and I was very disappointed, basically. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
That's
We
like
can
the
be more
whole.
welcoming.
That's like the whole thing in Love Actually.
I was
where
just
one
thinking
kid-
that.
Yeah.
yes,
Goes to America.
that's exactly right. And it's funny because
He goes to Milwaukee.
we actually did like Love Actually recently, and when we watched that scene, I was like, this is what I used to think. This guy's me.
Yeah.
This guy is totally
Kumail
me.
Nanjiani,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Kumail Nanjiani has an amazing bit where he talks about his first day in America was Thanksgiving, and
Oh,
it was
no.
in New York City, and he
Oh,
saw the
weird.
parade, and he's like, as promised, this is America. And the other day it was very disappointing.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So then I wonder, and this might be a stretch, I wonder, did you get Australian television?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah. We get Australian TV and movies and all that sort of stuff as well. Like we get Neighbours. I don't know if you guys get that over there, but we knew about Heath Ledger before he was the Joker, sort of thing. So yeah,
Oh. Huh.
yeah. Like
Yeah,
You
America's
might be able to help
weird.
us out because we were struggling. We did an episode on Crocodile Dundee.
oh yeah.
Oh.
And we know that dude came from a sketch or a variety show called The Paul Hogan Show.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know the show? Can you give us any insight?
I know the
Was it
show,
good?
but I literally can't remember anything of it. I think it was popular when I was about 4 or 5 years old. So yeah.
It was late 70s.
Yeah. So yeah, I would have
Way
been born
to
yet.
age him. Just throw it out there.
It could have been reruns. I'm just saying it was an older show.
Yeah, no, we got Eric Bana on a TV show. I think it was called Full Frontal or one of these other comedy shows. So, like Eric Bana, who went on to become the Hulk and all that sort of stuff. He actually used to be a comedy actor, And there's a great Australian,
Oh, wow.
Not see
there's a
that.
gret Australian movie called The Castle that you guys should check out sometime that he's in. I don't know why I'm promoting Australia so much at the moment. We're a country as well, but
I brought it up. I just knew you were really close, and we were really like wondering about this Paul Hogan show, and
oh, fair enough. Yeah.
I took a chance.
Yeah, we did that episode and we were like, we've never ever heard of this.
Yeah, it's probably popular in Australia amongst a certain generation, but yeah, it wasn't that popular here in New Zealand. I don't think. Yeah,
I almost feel like in the US we didn't know that like there were shows in other countries until like the Doctor Who reboot.
Oh yeah. Right.
I would say The Office.
They have an office.
Yeah, well, like it was like, oh, what? Yeah, England has The Office now. God, copycats. Like,
Oh God,
Yeah.
that's all we do is
did
remake
say
British
that.
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how are you guys feeling about Taika Waititi these days?
Oh, he's New Zealander of the Year last year. He's amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He's
Wow.
the hometown boy.
Yeah, I mean, he came out of sort of relative obscurity and then started directing a couple of films, and he directed episodes of Flight of the Conchords. He directed, sort of other things, and his star was clearly on its rise. And then when he did Hunt for the Wilder People, just as it got announced that he was going to do Thor Ragnarok, I was like, this is phenomenal. This doesn't happen to New Zealanders. Like the last time we had something that big was when Peter Jackson got Lord of the Rings, and then suddenly everyone in New Zealand became an extra. But which is true. I literally know about 20 people that were extras in Lord of the Rings. Or yeah. New Zealand,
amazing.
it's crazy. It's like New Zealand's just become a film set, and I think Taika's helping that. Like we had A Wrinkle in Time got films here. We had that new Jason Statham movie Meg about the giant shark that's bigger than Jaws.
I want to see that.
It looks so stupid, eh? It looks so stupidly good and stuff. But so Taika is he's moving on to bigger, better things, and he's awesome. He's amazing. My fiance had
We're huge fans.
fiance had the pleasure of actually meeting him after a premiere of Hunt for the Wilder People over in Sydney. She was working over in Australia for a little bit, and went up to him and said, "My fiance is the biggest Marvel fan in the world. You're doing Ragnarok. Is there any chance you could be in it?" And he was just like, "Oh yeah, that's sure, no problem, mate. Yeah, it's all good. Here's my manager's email and all this other stuff." And my fiance was like, "Is this for real?" And just walked off like. And when she told me, I literally, I was walking around with a bloody tent in the front of my pants for quite some time. I was like, this is amazing. This is the best news I've ever heard. This is great. But I didn't do it.
I wouldn't pass up that opportunity.
Unfortunately, they were filming over in Australia, and it meant a couple of weeks off work, and it was right when we were doing our big trip around Europe. So, would have been nice, but oh well.
And it's that weird thing of like, is this real? Or is he screwing with her?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's such a surreal person.
Brett and Sam met him as well.
Really?
We did
In LA.
not.
okay, so
Oh.
no, I maintain that we did because there's like only one person that looks like him, and we were behind him in line for yogurt. Like right when the movie came out, like he was around.
Did he have an Australian accent?
No,
I don't remember
New
an
Zealand.
Australian accent.
Yeah.
New Zealand accent.
Damn it!
He did have an accent.
You Canadians are funny, eh?
Hey, we'd much rather be Canadians at this point.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. Yeah, sorry.
The funny part, new Sam, is that I was the one that stressed so much. Don't call him an Australian,
And we were all like, yeah, why would we?
and I'm the one that did it. Of course.
It's funny though. Like
Damn it.
we get the association all the time, and when I went to New York, it was funny. The first two taxi drivers I met said, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "New Zealand." They're like, "Oh, is that where is that near?" And I was like, "Near Australia." And he's like, "Oh, okay. Do you guys have a bridge between them?" And I was like, "No." and then the second one, literally the second one, said the same thing. Is there a bridge between like Auckland and Sydney? And I was like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" And then I did the math. And then I did the maths, and I actually looked it up. And then by the time the third one was talking to me about it, I was like, if you built a bridge from New York to Miami, you still wouldn't be able to get from New Zealand to Australia.
Oh wow.
You could tell them, well, we
Yep.
did. It was like 30 million years ago.
Yeah.
We had.
You know, when we
You
were
should
one
just
giant
make
continent.
up anything. You should be like,
Yeah.
no, mate, we have a zip line.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about our movie this time around, which will be Con Air.
Yes.
From 1997.
Yeah.
Why are watching Con Air?
Because new Sam wanted to.
Okay, so this was your pick, Sam.
Yeah, I threw a couple of suggestions at Ash, and Con Air was actually high on my list, and I was hoping she picked it. I did watch it probably 20 times when I was about 15, and I have not seen it since.
Excellent.
I remember,
Perfect.
yeah, I remember a rough premise of what it's about. I remember it being full-blown Nick Cage at his most Nick Cageiest, and yeah, I can't wait.
That's Nick Cage. I
Nick
forgot.
Cage is in this?
Yeah.
Have you seen?
I've never seen it.
Oh.
Oh,
And
no.
I feel like Bret was very excited about this movie.
I'm so excited, guys.
Yeah.
This is because Nick Cage is the consummate actor in that he's made films of literally every quality.
Yes.
Fantastic and maybe like questionably the worst actor.
What's his fantastic movie?
Yeah.
This is it.
This is no. I thought you were gonna say John Malkovich. Wasn't that?
Oh. Is he in that?
That's Nick Cage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Nick Cage. John Malkovich is in it as well. John Malkovich is
See,
the bad guy.
make me
Yeah.
doubt myself.
Well, he's like it's John Malkovich doing a Nick Cage. I don't know.
No, Nick Cage is the main dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they're inside of John Malkovich.
Yeah, but you don't see it. Oh my god.
Wow.
Wait, are you telling me that Nick Cage is controlled by John Malkovich all the time?
No, it's the other way around.
Oh.
Malkovich.
That was a good movie, but I think this one is
Is
like,
better.
It's all of the the intersection of all of the weird like cheeseball action stuff that I love.
Yes.
And like I'm so excited, guys. And Steve Buscemi.
Really?
Yeah. So Steve Buscemi's, Danny Trejo, Ving Rhames, Dave Chappelle. Dave
Danny
Chappelle's in this.
Trejo.
What?
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle?
Yeah.
Okay, I am now getting excited.
I wanted to look at the cast, and actually, I want to ask a series of questions, not 20 questions, but one single question multiple times.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I want to start with the first one. Ash is not even going to know this name. And I want to start with Colm Meaney.
Yes.
Good or bad?
Great.
Great.
Right, I remember he's
Neither. Great.
great. I remember him being awesome in this movie. He was in one of the Star Treks, eh?
Yeah, Chief O'Brien.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah,
He's-
yeah.
Oh.
No, I'm definitely working my way up to something. But Brett and Sam, Colm Meaney, good thing or bad thing?
Yeah, good.
Good.
I would agree.
I'm nervous
Okay. All right.
because it could go either way. He could be great or it could be sad. It could be like, oh, he missed his potential. He could have been O'Brien, but he's in Con Air.
Interesting answer, and I want to revisit that.
Okay.
Danny Trejo, good or bad?
Good.
Excellent.
Yeah, damn it. That's what I was going to say.
Amazing.
Excellent.
Yes, I'm very happy about Danny Trejo. I just looked up Danny Trejo. He has, I counted 24 movies currently in production, whether it's like filming or post-production or something. 24 movies, a total of 356 acting credits on his
Oh
list.
my God.
And we've eaten his tacos.
And his donuts.
I bet.
Really? Does
That
he have
sounds
a restaurant
sexual.
or a truck or something?
Yeah.
Those tacos, and they're real good tacos, but they're like 3 times the price that tacos should be. But they're
Yes.
real good tacos.
So you have to go on Taco Tuesday. Also, he was in the Pasadena Rose Parade.
Yeah, he like
Wow.
was a feet from us, waving all like princessly.
And he was holding a chihuahua. He was on the SPCA float. It's pretty cute.
All right, I think this one's pretty easy. Steve Buscemi.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember there's some particular magic with Mr. Buscemi in this movie.
Yeah, it's a memorable performance.
Yes.
That's the one that really stuck out for me. Ving Rhames, good or bad?
I don't know who that is.
Great.
Marcellus Wallace in Pulp Fiction. He's the computer guy in the Mission Impossible movies. I'm going to say Ving Rhames is pretty great.
Yeah, I love him.
He's not like the best actor in the world, but he's got some gravitas.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
what
I'm
he-
having
what he
trouble
does in this.
placing his.
Well, I'm not necessarily asking you to judge him in this movie we haven't watched yet. I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
John Cusack.
Ooh.
Wait, is he in this movie or did he
John
somehow?
Cusack's in it.
Lukewarm.
Interesting.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad. I think.
I feel like it would normally be good, but it's a conflicting tone of this movie. I don't know.
As a huge fan of Say Anything, I got to say, I'm always on board with Cusack.
Right, yeah. I can get on that.
Say anything.
I'm probably on board with Ash on this one. Although I don't have even a single movie prepared, but I'd be curious to know which were the good and which were the bads, because I bet we're on like diametrically opposed sides of
I honestly can't remember what I've seen him in, but I know that I've seen him in movies.
Gross Point Blank.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Crazy
good.
Summer.
High Fidelity was good.
High Fidelity.
I
Yeah.
don't think I've seen that.
All right, things start to get interesting. John Malkovich, good or bad?
Oh,
Wait, John Malkovich is in this too? I was just making a
have this
joke about John No, I thought we were
didn't
talking
know
about
he was
Nick
in it
Cage
either.
and John Malkovich. I didn't know John Malkovich was also in Con Air.
have we ever seen them apart, guys? That's all I'm saying. Maybe they're the same.
I love John Malkovich. I can't wait for him again. Yeah, he's great. Cyrus the Virus.
Yeah. Totally.
What I'm really driving at here, the checkered flag at the end of this whole thing.
Oh, I know it.
Is Nicolas Cage good or bad?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, did they book an excellent cast to cover up for a really shitty story?
Not going to say that. I'm going to say this is a question that humanity struggles with. Mm-hmm. Is Nicolas Cage good or bad?
He's
only
bad,
good
guys. He's
in
bad.
He's only good in the ironic, I love to laugh
Yeah.
at how
Yeah.
bad he is way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he's bad.
He started off so amazingly. I mean, aside from like Vampire's Kiss and stuff like that, he started off so amazingly. And I honestly think at a certain point, him and Matthew McConaughey just swapped careers, because Matthew McConaughey was his joke, and Nicolas Cage was this amazing actor. And then
Did they John Malkovich it? They climbed into each other's bodies.
yeah, it is. They did have one of those situations, and now McConaughey's just crushing it, whereas Nicolas Cage, he'd say yes to anything at this point. Yeah.
For every Wicker Man, there's a Raising Arizona.
Yes.
Like, it's hard to track this dude.
And Leaving Las Vegas as well, which he won the Oscar
That's true.
I feel like
Raising
as time
Arizona
goes
was
on-
good.
like
But was it good because he was good, or did it just happen to hit his broken persona in the right angle?
Yeah.
And you got something interesting.
that's the real main thing is he's got one mode, and if they wrote the movie for it, then it's great, and otherwise you're like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Yes.
I'll disagree a little bit with that, because in this movie, I think we get something that you never have seen before and never will see again,
Agreed.
which is gigantic, muscular, badass Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
Like, muscly Nicolas Cage, that is a weird recipe.
Yeah, what? I don't remember him being muscly in this.
I mean, other Sam, tell me
Or-
if I'm wrong.
or-
Yeah, no, he is. He's pretty jacked in this, because he's playing, I can't remember if it was a US Ranger or something like that. He's playing some sort of weird military guy that is a killing lethal weapon or something, and yeah, he's jacked as, yeah.
Wow.
Huh.
So I don't know. This is going to be a weird movie. I know you guys are really excited. You know, I kind of want to get into predictions, because I'm not sold on this movie.
Well, let me throw this at you as far as like Nicolas Cage goes. As far as like a perspective on him, like, you know, he's related to Coppola, right?
Right. He's
Yeah.
actually Nicolas Coppola.
Yeah.
Wait,
So-
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blowing
So
my mind on this podcast today. What?
Yeah, so Nicolas Cage is a Coppola, and he changed his name because he didn't want to be associated with, you know, the Coppola family already, just so he could make it on his own.
Why
Yeah.
did he choose Cage?
I don't know the answer to that, do you?
The answer is
trapped.
Oh, wait.
No, I do know the answer to
in
this.
his own body.
You
I
do?
bet Sam knows the answer.
He do. He based on Luke Cage, the comic book character. Like
I knew you'd nail that.
Really?
Marvel Zombie.
That's the best possible answer.
his favorite comic book characters were Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider, and Luke Cage. You know, Luke Cage, and I think he took Cage from Luke Cage. Yeah.
So
Okay.
think about it this way, that Nicolas Cage is a rich kid who's just living out his dream of literally, yes, taking any part ever, because he's just having fun with it, and it doesn't fucking matter if his acting
Maybe.
career pans out.
Pretty much.
In which case he is succeeding.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a
Like,
self-entitled
he's just-
asshole. Yeah, he's just
Yeah. So, like, it doesn't even matter.
But
Yeah.
it's an interesting perspective. Like, he's, you know, because he does some real questionable stuff throughout his
Yeah.
career. But like, is it like because he can afford to take that risk?
I I think so.
You know, is he
Yeah.
like maybe he's actually trying to be the best actor, and he's like, you never know when the role of a lifetime will come by, and like I pull something out of it that no one else could. It's like you're thinking a little high of yourself there, Nick. But all right, go
I
ahead.
prefer to think of it the other direction. Maybe he's trying to living Las Vegas his life, and maybe he's trying to be a terrible actor and destroy his own career.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
failing.
He's like the ultimate troll, basically. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like in 30 Rock, Tracy Morgan, how he like makes it big in film, and he's like trying to ruin his career again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everything he does, they love.
What I would absolutely love is if Nicolas Cage one day does a fallback where he does a Sofia Coppola movie. I can only imagine what the hell that would look like.
Oh my god!
Lost in Translation, starring Nicolas Cage. That'd be amazing.
Oh god.
Oh wow.
I want to see that version of that movie though, just to laugh at it.
Oh, same. I probably only want to see about 15 minutes, but I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, then you get the point.
See, my mind immediately went to Marie Antoinette with Nick Cage, and I was like, yeah, it's an improvement.
See, you're reminding me of there's a website called Nick Cage as Everything,
Oh, yeah.
where people have photoshopped Nick Cage into every character possible. It's a good time. Check it out.
Well, it's funny that we were talking about him being inside John Malkovich, because I saw this hilarious photo on Facebook the other day that was like the robot inside, or the man inside of Nicolas Cage, and it was like as if Nicolas Cage was a bodysuit and a man leaning out of him and somebody giving him like a glass of water on set. As if it was a smaller man inside the shell of Nicolas Cage.
Wow.
That's amazing. By the way, I'm
Yeah.
absolutely loving all this chat because one of our 20 questions is how would you incorporate Nicolas Cage into this movie? And my fiance hates him. Like, she hates him sort of thing. So she absolutely hates this. So, yeah. So I'm loving all this
is perfect.
conversation. Yeah, this is great. This is
Every
awesome.
time the answer has to be just put him in the lead.
Yeah,
How you
totally.
put him in every movie.
It's funny because I always go for that. I always go for a bit of a part, whereas she's like, oh, he could be like the sound guy or like the cameraman or something.
The second AD.
Yeah. She's always said that. It's like the guy that goes and gets sandwiches for everyone at lunchtime. I'm like, I don't remember that part of the movie. She's like, no, I mean for the crew and stuff. Like, I'm like,
Can you imagine having like the type of celebrity that he has, like as a person? Like he is a living meme.
yes.
Yeah, he is.
I think he likes it though.
Wow.
'cause
We got to write
is
that movie. The Living Meme.
Well, like that website you were talking about, like it's not just photoshops, right? Like he's the one that they're like neural netting onto the faces of other movies, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. I was reading this article. They've got technology now where they can put different faces into video, which first use was porn. You know, there's like, oh, you want to see your favorite actress?
Oh
in
no!
porn? They've done this.
Of course, that's
But
the
that
first one.
stopped really quick
Yeah.
because they got bored with that and instead started just putting Nicolas Cage in everything.
It's a better use of the
Bored with
program.
Nailed it.
fake porn
Awesome.
because it was more fun to put Nick Cage in stuff.
Yes.
But did they ever put him in the porn?
God, I hope not.
Oh, you know they did.
Yeah.
I'm outta
Everything
here.
exists.
Rule 34.
Yeah.
It's like Nicolas Cage fucking Nicolas Cage.
Oh. Yep, you know it exists.
Or John Malkovich really could be inside him.
Stop it. Take it back.
Let's talk about.
Have you
our
been looking at my search
expectations
history?
for Con Air? So, who, Ash? You have not seen it.
I haven't seen it.
Sam,
Yeah.
have you seen it?
Saw it. Oh wait, which Sam? Sorry.
Wilson, regular Sam.
Yes, Wilson. I saw it with Bret a long time ago, like high school. So like
Oh,
a long time ago.
so do you have any expectations at all?
I think it's gonna be up there with Last Boy Scout, guys.
Oh,
Down there with Laos?
Down there. Well,
Interesting.
like yeah, down there on the list of movies if we ranked them from best to worst, but up there on our list of bad movies.
I think that segues into my expectations, which is, I think it's going to be better than Last Boy Scout. I don't think it's going to be much better. This movie, the director I didn't even mention, Simon West. He directed Tomb Raider, Expendables 2. Anyway, it is not directed by Michael Bay, but in my memory, it's a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Yeah, I'm not like super jazzed. Like we went through a list, and most of those actors
Are amazing.
we agree are great.
yeah.
And Nicolas Cage is weird. So I think there's going to be some fun stuff in here, but I don't think it's going to be. So what do you think, Brett?
I don't know what you're talking about. This is going to be
Counterpoint.
a great movie in the genre of like over the top action movies. It's definitely not like a Schwarzenegger joint. Like it's not that wild.
Did you just say a Schwarzenegger joint?
Yes.
Like a hangout joint with Schwarzenegger?
Shut up. Anyway, this is an entirely different thing, and
Like jazz cigarettes.
this was like the top of the action roller coaster, but like in that it's a little slower at the top.
Oh no.
But I think there's a lot of character acting in this, whereas in most action stuff, it's just like guns, guns, guns. And there's like good actors in this, guys. It's gonna be great, and Nick Cage might actually be good.
At the end of this movie, we're going to talk about whether Schwarzenegger could have played Nick Cage's part.
I'm going to go with yes, and that would have been amazing.
So Ash, you ain't seen it.
I have seen nothing. I know nothing. Except I'm going to assume from the name that airplanes are involved.
Okay.
Correct.
I didn't even know all those people were in the movie, so
Okay.
I really don't know anything. I don't know how I like missed this movie, but yeah, there you go.
It's not that shocking.
Now that again, I will say I did happen to see the Rotten Tomatoes rating on this one as well.
Why?
And
Why are you always looking that up?
it's that information is everywhere, Sam. I can't help it.
Yeah,
and
you can't
I am
check
concerned.
the price without seeing the Rotten
Yeah, I
Tomatoes
can't
score.
even like look up the movie without the Rotten Tomatoes thing being the top link.
All right.
Sounds like a real design problem, like for the enjoyment of things. You know, like just every time you want to do something, the internet tells you, "Wait, no, don't."
Well, that's what Scorsese had an article a little while ago where he said that Rotten Tomatoes is like the worst thing for film possible.
It's a big thing. There's a lot of articles about that.
How it just stops you from ever watching a movie. Like even on Netflix too, I'm like, oh, this has like a 60%. Never mind. You know, like for me, it has to be like
60, wow.
80.
Wow.
I don't know. I just like good stuff.
There's
guys.
movies that are 60% that are good.
Movie bougie.
Well, that's totally, and I agree. And like, there's been ones that have like bad ratings that I've given a chance, and I was like, oh, I'm glad I gave it a chance because I really enjoyed it.
All right. So, New Sam, you get the last word on this. You probably are excited about the movie.
I'm very excited, but at the same time, I'm kind of worried that I remember this movie having very racist
Oh,
kind
no.
of undertones, and I'm kind of worried that watching it again, I'm going to be like, oh shit.
Oh, no.
We have tread that ground. Do not feel bad because, I was all for Police Academy and there was some creepy stuff.
Yeah.
Or
I
even
was really into Crocodile Dundee, and we were shocked to find some really creepy stuff there.
yeah.
So don't feel bad.
Yeah, I won't feel
It's all part
bad.
of the experiment.
As long as the racism comes from the criminals.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm still excited. I'm still very excited about this movie.
All right. Well, let's check it out. We're going to stop recording. We're going to watch Con Air. We're going to see if this thing is actually stomachable.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back on mic and see how we all feel.
While
Awesome.
you're watching it, New Sam,
Yep.
can you ask your fiance where she think Nicolas Cage could play a role in this movie?
Yes, of course. I will ask her. This may be potentially the most embarrassing movie that she's walked in on me watching by myself, but which is saying something. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah.
All right. So we'll be back after we watch the movie.
Hey everybody, Nick's mic broke and sounds like he's talking through a tin can for the second half of the episode. Just want to give you a heads up. Back to the show.
How do I live without you?
Bum, 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 bum.
How do I breathe without you?
home Alabama.
Can I ask one really important question that will affect all of my reactions after this?
Is
Of
it?
course.
It's really
Yeah.
important. What is the genre of this movie?
Thank you.
Everything
Thank
awesome.
you.
Everything awesome.
I think that's a valid point.
If it's an action movie, that's one thing. If it's a comedy, I have a very different reaction.
Because they did the comedy ending where they're like, here's the clips of people with like their title and stuff. And I was like, wait,
Yeah.
this wasn't a comedy.
This
What
was
are you
a straight up
It wasn't
action movie.
I felt like it was an action movie with like
Hundo
the action
percent.
movie humor.
Okay,
you
then
know?
I hate it.
Oh,
If you had said comedy, I love it.
What?
if
You're
it was
broken.
like a parody on like every action movie,
Yeah.
I mean that would be pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. Is batshit insane a genre? Because that's
Yeah, maybe. Like, is that on the wall at Blockbuster?
Yeah,
batshit insane. Oh my god.
I think Nick Cage is its own genre.
yes.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
I would argue
That's
that
good.
all action movies, all good action movies are comedies.
Yeah.
Fair.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
in a
yeah.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
I think I agree with
Guys, are you gonna break our hearts over there? Because
What's your heart set on?
because this is what happens when we don't watch the movie in the same room, and we end up with two completely opposing
different
opinions.
vibe.
And I'm very scared right now.
Well, I will say that I had a lot of fun with this movie.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
me
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
good. Whew.
Definitely.
Okay, we
It
can
was
still
a
be friends.
terrible movie.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either. I liked
I
it,
think
guys.
it was like super terrible. I thought it was pretty fun and had some pretty entertaining parts.
Totally.
You guys, Ash was enjoying this.
Oh my
shit.
god!
Yes.
I honestly, I really liked this movie.
Me too. I'm so excited right now.
Yeah.
I think Ash might have written down a lot of quotes. I'm not sure.
I did. Okay,
Yeah, there's a lot of
okay.
good ones.
I mean, put the bunny back in the box. It's so great.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah,
So
it's
awesome.
amazing.
I think that these people saw Raising Arizona and said, I want this character in an action movie. Because
Okay.
I'll be taking these Huggies and whatever cash you got is a close cousin of Put the Bunny in the Box.
Yes, it is. or the just some of the delivery. It's like I thought Nicolas Cage was going to be the worst part of this movie, but some of his line deliveries were so good. Like what was I thinking about? Oh yeah, yee-haw. Like so
Yeah.
good. So good.
Do you know what I am? Ugly all day.
But my favorite was right there in the very beginning. School is very important.
It was really fun.
I
really
know.
liked it.
I
don't
did too. Dude, totally right. Like, this movie was so much fun, and actually the story was pretty good, guys. Like, it's not like Oscar winning, but we knew that going into it. Like,
See, I'm really glad because, like, I literally thought I'd come on here and you four would be like, "What? And then it would just be an hour of me going, "No, come on, it was like real funny. Come on, guys,
I love
please
how
just
you
listen
said
to me."
you set our expectations low in the beginning too, because you were like,
Yes.
I don't know, you gave yourself an
Yeah.
out just in case.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. That was my master game plan. But now that you've enjoyed it, oh, awesome.
Brett, did you notice? Did you notice the move?
What move?
Nose bone in the brain?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
what type
Dick
of movie
flick.
this
I was like, did he die? And I was like, that's the rule of action movies. If you slap someone in the nose, they're dead.
And they even did like the slow-mo, like intense music for it too. Like they highlighted it this time.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good.
It really was, guys.
the only bad part, I think, was that Trisha Yearwood song.
Which one was that?
How do I live? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, at the end it was Leanne Rimes, I think. Wasn't it?
No, I'm pretty sure that's
Look at
Trisha
me, I
Yearwood.
have no fucking idea.
Because I looked up the lyrics
I was listening to the Skinner.
and it said Leanne Rimes.
Really? I don't know.
I think
Whatever.
she
Too
did
new
the
for
second
that.
one. The first
Yeah.
one was the original with Trisha, but the last one was the Leanne Rimes version, I think. Because they played the song twice.
How do I live without
Because of
you?
course they did.
Of course they did.
I know.
But I'm glad you brought up the music, because the music was the most batshit crazy part of this movie. Because it would go from like, I loved like the 9 Inch Nails music. It was very like 9 Inch Nails-y. And then it would go to Top Gun music. And then it would spin on like 180 degrees and go to like Princess Bride, like dur 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 dur.
Also, John Malkovich had his own theme song.
Which was great. I did like that.
I did too.
But the music was just all over the place.
Sam loved the Malkovich theme song. I think that was my least favorite part of the whole movie. Dun, dun,
The 9 Inch Nails music. Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. He's
Yeah.
the bad guy.
I
Yeah.
wish the whole movie was just 9 Inch Nails-y.
No, that would have changed
Sounding.
it. That would have changed it.
But like, guys, did John Malkovich just kill that part?
Yes.
Oh, he crushed
Yes.
it. He
Oh.
absolutely crushed it.
So good.
It does kind of remind me, we watched Lost in Space, and Gary Oldman as Dr. Smith is
Yes.
like John Malkovich. It's like, these actors are too good for these parts,
Totally.
but they made
Yeah.
these terrible, terrible characters really watchable.
So good.
Yeah.
I loved his character, and Steve Buscemi too.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I mean, I got a feel for Mr. Buscemi because you know why he got the call.
Because he's a creeper. 'Cause he
We need the
looks like
most
a
serial
creeper.
killer-y looking dude in the world.
It's so sad because he's like the exact opposite. Like, you've heard the whole
He's a great
9/11
guy.
stories, how he like used to be a
Yeah, true.
firefighter.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
like the exact opposite, but he played it so well. I'm glad you brought up Steve Buscemi because I have a very interesting question.
I think I've got the same question.
Yeah, did Steve Buscemi's character have a change of heart, and is he actually a good man by the end of this
God,
movie?
no.
Why not?
I had the same question. I was like, are we supposed to root for this man? This man who's killed 33 people and is now hanging out in a casino. Are we supposed to
But
be
he
on his side?
didn't
Or?
kill the girl.
Which I think is an example of how insane and unpredictable he is. He didn't kill that little girl. Didn't feel like it.
No,
But he's,
I don't think
but he's
that's
smashed a
what-
coffee cup.
He liked
Yeah.
the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are talking about songs. That's the one I've got stuck in my head. Is the whole world in his hands? I'm like, just get out, go
we
away.
should've done that one.
I can see,
I see. I think I think he didn't kill the girl because she said, "Are you sick?"
Yeah.
And I feel like that was him coming to terms with the realization that he was sick, because earlier in the movie he was arguing with Nicolas Cage about how he's not crazy. People who work these long hours are crazy. But in that scene with the little girl, he is accepting and acknowledging the fact that he is crazy.
Well, there was an undertone, like in the writing of the movie. Whoever was writing this definitely had that, the political agenda of prison makes people worse, and like Steve Buscemi goes into prison, and like on the plane he's just like, yeah, I kill people, like I'm not crazy for doing that, and all it needed was the compassion of a child to change his mind.
Yeah.
Clearly not his
saying-
daughter's show.
Yeah.
I think you guys are analyzing the wrong movie. Like, I don't think there's depth to be mined here. I think it was just he's
Oh, dude, there's
crazy.
absolutely depth to be mined, because the way they
Totally.
framed that shot of the table with the broken coffee mug, they were intentionally making us think that he killed the girl. That was
Yeah.
a very
Oh, for
powerful
sure,
shot.
for sure.
And like, why would they do that if there wasn't meaning to that?
Because the writer
I-
thought there was meaning.
I feel like there was a version of this movie that they tested for screen audiences where they didn't have that shot of the little girl running after the plane.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like somebody watched that and they're like, nah, man, come on, this is way too dark. Nah, we can't put this in there. And so they put a
Totally.
shot of her in there. Just yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I think it was a subtle way of them nodding to the fact that he had become a changed man.
That part where he's sitting down with that girl is probably the only part during the entire movie that I actually talked out loud and I said, oh no, I forgot about this. Oh no.
Me too.
What's funny, I did
Like I
forget
laughed
about
the
that.
entire time, but yeah. Ugh.
I had a very clear memory of him sitting there with the girl drinking tea as the plane flew away.
Right.
Like, I completely remembered the movie playing out that way. And it's weird. It's Berenstein Bears all over again. I don't understand.
Well, they almost made you. I feel like they almost kind of did that though. Like you didn't know he was on the plane until later.
Maybe. Yeah.
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 Maybe that's what crossed my wires.
Yeah. But there's that one shot too when he's like talking about what's insane and what's not, and like the lighting on his face changes. And
I
the
saw
key on
that.
his face goes down and gets
Yeah.
darker as he like
The whole
talks about this dark
plane.
shit.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, so good. Like there's some pretty good shots in this movie.
I don't know what that archetype is, but it's one of my favorite character archetypes in movies. And we kind of got it a little bit with Lost in Space. The prophetic kind of like villain, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't know, it just adds a whole other just weird, super deep layer to like, even if it's not actually there, it just makes everything seem more important.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's an interesting question I was thinking about watching the movie. Can you name one actor in this movie who played the character that they usually play?
Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
you got
Trejo,
me.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got me right there. But I think most people in this movie are playing completely different characters from what they usually play.
O'Brien.
Totally. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was not O'Brien. I guess Cusack is
Cusack's
the
kinda-
good guy, but I've never seen Cusack in an action movie.
No.
He did a
Nah.
good job.
Well, wasn't Point Break or
My Break was an action movie.
Yeah.
John Cusack was
No,
not
the
in it.
other one.
I was gonna
Yeah, that's kind of.
Oh,
What
Gross
was that?
Point Blank.
Yeah.
I don't think that
that-
was action. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was more drama-y. It was.
There was that 2012 movie he did, that natural disasters one where he's trying to save his family.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's
That was instantly forgettable. Yeah. But yeah, I'm such a film nerd.
This movie should have been named John Cusack Has a Bad Day because
Oh, totally.
Had a rough day.
There were so many characters in this that had a bad day. My favorite was the police officer who got caught up and they're like, no, the plane's full of cons. You've got to store them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like someone just told him you've got to work for your lunch break. He's like, oh, Christ.
yeah. His reaction was so
Oh, Christ.
undermined.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like, I'm gonna go die now.
Yeah. Oh,
But he
man.
seemed so blasé about it. That and the old timer underneath the truck that just had the
Yeah.
entire place explode around him. And he's
Yes.
like, don't kill me. And then, you got to lay off the drugs. It's like, now it's
Yeah.
time for important life lessons. What are you doing, dude?
And the way Nicolas Cage is calling him old timer, just
Yeah.
like in Raising Arizona, there was a guy who called him old timer.
So was Raising Arizona before this then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When was Raising Arizona?
Like the early 90s, right?
I
Earlier
wanna say
90s?
late 80s. It might have been 87,
When was this movie?
97, or 98,
98.
I mean,
97.
the graphics, like the few CG things that happen in this movie and the practicals, like really held up.
Yeah.
Is there CG stuff, or is there just a lot of complex compositing?
Like the car floating behind the plane?
Yeah, there
And
were
the
a few
plane
CG
landing in Las
things.
Vegas was CG.
Yeah, they were like tactfully mixed in with practical.
Yeah. And it was only 1 year before Lost in Space. And I think it looked a
wow.
lot better.
This is what I've been
Sorry.
saying for so many episodes is like there's just a valley of sorrow that was the CG in Lost in Space. And before it was better and after was better.
Yeah, I mean, come on, that monkey was not okay.
I don't know if you've seen Lost in Space, Sam, new Sam, but
I did watch it when it came out at the movies, and I was in an age where going to the movies was still really awesome and cool, and I think that was the movie that I walked out of, and I was like, "Wow, they can make shit movies." I've been lied to my entire life. What the hell was Joey doing?
That's fair.
so I love how the end of this movie just turns into like a rap music video in like Vegas with money and explosions,
Motorcycles.
and motorcycles, and
Yeah. That felt very like stylistically different than the rest of the movie.
yeah.
Oh, totally.
That's when it turned Michael Bay-y. And I was like,
I felt like
No.
it turned Michael Bay at the that second airstrip where they're like blowing cops up and
Yeah.
shit. And
I think it was
true.
Michael Bay from the beginning, like that,
What?
especially the editing style.
Oh.
Yeah.
I felt like I was watching Armageddon. Like it was
Yeah.
that same editing style.
there were a lot of like close shots too where I was like, what's happening? But like,
Transformers.
that's such a Michael Bay thing. Like the shot is too tight. I don't understand the action that's happening.
So you know what I was pleasantly surprised about is while there was some racism in the movie, none of
It
it
wasn't
was
that
like a
bad.
part of the plot or any of the characters that we were supposed to like.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Because I did mention before we started about how I was worried about some of that stuff. And then, yeah, I did love the shot of Ving Rhames at the front with a whip whipping the white guys towing the plane.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yes.
Well, this is going to sound controversial as shit, but I think the racism in this movie is Tarantino-like.
Yes, yeah, totally.
Yeah.
They're just using it to be quippy dialogue between manly badass men.
Yeah.
Right? This is
Yeah.
how badass men talk to each other. They call each other racial things.
But like,
Yeah.
they even had not even just the racism, but there was the opportunity for a very uncomfortable moment with the character that was either gay or cross-dressing or trans.
Oh
or
my God,
they
he was
didn't
my favorite character.
They didn't ask that question because it's not important.
Yeah.
And he was just a criminal that was cross-dressing and not a cross-dresser then that's criminal. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
They just were.
Nicolas Cage reeled back to punch him, but then decided to do an open hand slap.
Because he doesn't hit
That's right.
women. He was playing it safe. He was respecting their pronouns.
It was so funny though.
It was funny. It's just I don't know how to take that.
What
It was
did happen
hilarious.
to the Native American guy though? He just like disappeared halfway through the movie.
No, I think he fell during that when the police were coming through the boneyard
Oh.
with the machine gun melee. I think he went down there.
What I loved about that, the cross-dressing character was at no point do we find out their name, and then in the credits, they
Yes.
were credited as Sally No Can't Dance or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's like, what the hell?
I
All
know.
of the names were just like, what is going? And that does support your theory that it's parody, because that is comedy. You know, like why would you do that for an action? Did they do that at the end of Top Gun?
What the
like,
character with the
yeah.
credit. I think they might have done that on Top Gun.
Interesting.
Okay, but like we were
Because it was
talking-
produced by Jerry Bruckheimer. He produced this one. He produced Top Gun. That would make a lot of sense.
Oh yeah.
That
He's like,
explains the Venus.
It's like if you're trying to get off Michael Bay, you go to Jerry Bruckheimer. He's like the next step down for transitioning, I think.
Yeah.
I think Bruckheimer produced a lot of Bay's movies. I think they're like a package for a while. That explains the Venus.
the Banus. Oh my god!
Venus of
No,
existence.
no. Take it back. Take it back.
No.
Sorry.
We've lost new Sam.
What?
So
I like that one.
we were talking about how we, some of us can never remember the names of characters. I remember the names of so many characters in this movie. Like,
Oh,
Really?
totally.
If you're saying this movie is better than Rogue One, I agree.
you know what? Honestly, I also agree. Unironically,
I
So-
gotta agree too.
So this movie totally felt like an 80s movie, but it was made
Yes.
a decade too late. Like,
yes.
how?
Which again makes it feel like it's parodying like 80s action films.
Yeah.
I would say it's more
weird.
homage.
well, like Nick
Okay,
Cage
yeah.
had the mullet, and then there's that one chick with like the weird, like short feathered haircut, and like it feels like maybe they they might have filmed this 10 years before, just sat on the footage.
Or maybe somebody wrote it and it took them 10 years to find a studio to make it.
Totally.
Yeah.
But surprisingly good. Like, just the story plot point was really interesting from the beginning. Like, and the way they handled the whole jail part, like, I don't know. It just felt really good pacing wise.
I envy Ash, like discovering like Ash is putting the pieces together. She's
Oh
like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what's happening now.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is the plot of the movie. Okay, I'm on board.
Nobody gets to go into a movie like this not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, I had no idea what was going to happen.
Oh, Con Air.
Oh. Yeah.
You know,
I feel like it would be cool to see a modern day version of this, but I also don't know that they would do it right. But I love that idea. Like, I love this idea of this airplane being hijacked by these,
It's a little preposterous that that many of the worst criminals are on
it's ridiculous.
one place.
Well, and I think there's only two ways this movie would get made nowadays, and it would be the post Nolan like hyper grit that would just make it a weird dark movie, or it would be like a Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah, but I think the thing we're all forgetting is that plane hijacking movies cannot be a thing anymore. Like post 9/11, like so it could be.
Also feeling a little twinge where it's like they're coming into Vegas and they're like, we need all the police and fire trucks on the Vegas Strip.
Oh, and anyone that can do CPR.
Yeah. Also, they're flying into Vegas and they're like, try to make it to the airport. I'm like, what about all the empty desert around Vegas?
We were just there, like a quarter mile to the left.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're John Cusack. You're meeting with Nicolas Cage's wife. You're explaining to her all of the gritty details of this horrifying thing that's happening.
In front of her child.
With the child in the room.
Yeah. Horrible.
I guess there's nothing to say there. That's fine.
Oh, no. But on top of that, you then decide to take the mother and child to a crime scene where a plane has crashed into Las Vegas, potentially
And her
killing
father
thousands
could
of
be
people.
dead.
Well,
Yeah.
potentially killing everyone on board the plane. Like they had no idea what had just happened.
Yeah, with no debriefing whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, bye.
I like how he helps a little girl off and he's like, okay, go follow your mom. Like this is a fun trip for her.
Yeah.
Although I did like John Cusack's little tongue-in-cheek thing with O'Brien / actors whose name I can't remember, of like, should have shot the plane down, huh? Don't shoot it down. He's like, yeah, it worked out much better this way. Like, at least they were calling attention to that fact.
That always bugs me in a movie where, like, the motivation is to save one person, and the way to save that one person results in the death of 50 other people.
Oh,
But
like
it's
the
very
Superman movie?
It's very American.
Yeah.
Like the whole Bo Bergdahl shit. Like, yeah, that's what we do.
Totally.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
This is another 9/11 thought that affects
Oh, good.
whether
Keeping
or not
it positive.
whether or not this movie works, and it's something I legitimately don't know and didn't bother to look up before we came back. But the biggest plot hole in the movie, because I can totally buy the police incompetence and like maybe these guys in jail have like a good plan to escape that it just happened to go well, but the very first time that Cyrus the Virus left the cockpit of the plane, the pilot should have shut and locked
I said
the door.
that too. Yes.
Ash said that.
And now, was that not like a real option before they reinforced all the doors after 9/11? Like, was it just an open door?
Can he not let go of the joystick or something? I don't know. There's like auto cruise, right? Or something?
I mean, forget about any other. Has it changed since 2001? It doesn't matter because it was a prison airplane. Yes, the cockpit door locks.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Or you have failed at being a prison.
Well, I guess that's why I'm wondering, like, from a flying perspective, like, can you not let go of the plane? Like, can you not let go of the controls? Like, is that why he couldn't get up?
I believe he could let go of the controls for
That
20
amount of time.
seconds.
Yeah.
If he has autopilot, he can let it go for several minutes.
Yeah.
Or hours in the case of those pilots that fall asleep on their flights and miss their airport by hundreds of miles.
Yeah.
Okay, but that was it. That was kind of like my only real deep gripe with the movie.
Like
I've got a lot of questions, but
they crack open a little hole in Cyrus's cell, and it's like, oh, he's got a book he shouldn't have. That's tough. Oh, he's got blueprints he shouldn't have. That's tough. He has a bomb in a cigar box. Like, how does he smuggle that into his cell?
Well, he had the anarchist cookbook, which
So he built it?
yeah,
Out
he
of
totally,
parts he smuggled in?
yeah,
Totally.
That's what it looked like when he opened it.
Yeah, but I've read the Anarchist Cookbook, and it's like, I mean, you still got to get some like real chemicals, you know?
Yeah.
No, I mean, with the logic of a movie like this, I'll let you have it.
But on top of that, though, like they found that hole in the brick, and then they sort of poked their finger through the hole and start pulling that brick apart. Are we to believe that Cyrus every day is scooping up all that dust and rebuilding the brick
Yeah.
and then sliding it back in?
Good point.
Yeah. Or there's like 2 bricks above is one that just slides in and out.
Yeah, exactly. But I found that amazing. I was like, and then are we to believe that Cyrus also didn't think, hey, shit, I should probably get rid of all this stuff, considering I'm about to go do it. You know, like, I thought he would have eaten all of it the first time he got a chance on it. But, oh, no, I'm just going to leave that around.
Also,
Yeah.
like, what prison checks
Still a
the
great movie.
cell? Like, what prison checks the cell way after?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, totally.
oh, he's already gone. Let's inspect the cells.
And like by that time in the movie, it was like, oh, there was already a disturbance on the plane? Huh. There's a map of a plane that is like
Right.
the plane that we were on? Huh. Like,
Yeah.
And
it took a really long time for John Cusack to put those pieces
Oh my
together.
God. Yeah.
It took the Last Supper for him to figure it out.
and then how the
Yeah.
fuck did he figure that out? That didn't make any sense.
That part was totes obvious.
No.
Eyes are missing.
No,
It
that-
must be like a fucking cipher for the page.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I knew it was that right away.
That actually didn't seem like a stretch to me.
Yeah.
Of all of the things that were obvious, that was the least obvious one.
It's, yeah.
I just don't know how he managed to line it up perfectly on the page. Like, you could put that anywhere up and down the page.
It's true.
And you
yeah.
could have potentially got a way different story, you know, like, I screwed your mum. Hey, what? Hey.
Sam, I love your "Are we to believe?" which seems like the phrase "Are we to believe?" is probably most uttered after a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
And are we to believe?
Oh, man.
So true.
Do you have other questions, Sam? You said you have so many.
I have a lot of questions about the American judicial and penitentiary system.
Oh, yes. So do we.
Ask away.
This was so accurate, actually. It's really like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And it's funny because I remember around that time, I used to listen to a lot of Rage Against the Machine. And then when I saw this movie, I was like, this is what American government's like. And this is what the politics and judicial system's like. They'll lock up a man for, like, what? It was self-defense. It was absolutely self-defense.
Yeah.
He was, you know, these
God.
3
Yeah.
redneck guys had decided, hey, tonight's the night we're going to try and rape this guy's missus, even though...
With
you
no
know,
motivation.
no motivation whatsoever, pregnant and everything. The guy then pulls a knife on Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage kills him in self-defense, and then you cut to immediate shot of Nicolas Cage's lawyer saying, "Oh no, man, you got to give up. Just give up. Just take anything. Don't worry about it."
The
I was like-
only inaccurate part about this is because Nick Cage is white,
Yes.
that's where it would have been different. And
Right.
I'm not
yeah.
making jokes here. Like, this is the sad truth. Like, if Nick Cage's character was a person of color, it would have gone the way it went
Then
in the
this
movie.
movie suddenly is much more believable.
Yes.
even worse.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that speech from the judge, like, because you are a military person, you are a trained weapon. That was
Yeah.
the worst.
Yeah.
But I feel like it should have been like, because you are a member of the military, we're letting you off lighter.
Yeah.
That's how I would have expected that to go.
Yeah. Or like, we're letting you off, but you're getting a disarmable discharge or whatever it's called.
That's what I was thinking is like that. I mean, right, as ridiculous as that kind of was, there's no stronger premise for setting up the moral fiber of your character than
Yeah.
like, you're in prison because you're a vet. Like,
Thanks for your service. Here's some jail time.
Yeah. And like, we keep comparing it to Lost in Space because we literally just watched that last night. So I'm sorry, Sam. But
That's okay.
unlike Lost in Space, it also gave me like some really good reasons to root for the main character. you know?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
he's a good guy that was wronged. Like, you know.
And he has a daughter. And he like seems like he's trying to educate himself and better himself while he's in prison because he was like learning Spanish and all sorts of stuff.
And he's not just a fucking perv.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I've got a question around the daughter. Do you guys actually think that is his daughter? Because his wife was 3 months pregnant.
what
He's just
Bret
come back
said.
from war.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Question.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why they really tried to beat him up. Maybe he killed the real father.
This movie's getting better and better.
Yeah, he's a regular.
No, honey, don't beat him up,
Nick
please.
Cage killed his daughter's dad.
I was amazed at that part. That and the fact that he shows up in Mobile, Alabama, which I'm suspecting is a big city, but the army drops him off by boat. Like, where boat is he coming from? Where is he coming from at that point?
On the no.
I thought it would have been
a good
easier for him
question.
to just drive up.
Mississippi? No, I don't know. A good point.
Alabama's on the sea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Is
so
it?
the army sends people home by
Yeah.
boat. Okay.
Yeah, I fucking don't know our own country.
Louisiana and Alabama.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
All
cool.
right.
That's okay.
So the
you
other-
can take a bridge from New Zealand to Australia, I've heard.
That's true. Yeah. It's only like a 20-minute drive. It's really quick. Yeah. The other thing that I sort of read into this maybe a little bit too deeply is right at the start when he's first in prison to get sending those pink cakes, like those pink sugary
Oh,
cakes.
gross. Yeah.
Yeah.
Snowballs.
And then he keeps giving them to Bubba, and we later discover Bubba's got diabetes. Now I'm wondering if Nicolas Cage gave him too much sugar.
No.
Oh my
And
god.
that's why he's so protective of him, because he's given the guy
his fault.
diabetes, and now he's dying from insulin shortage.
Oh my god.
Yep.
Nick
That's
Cage
so
is secretly the villain of this movie.
Yes.
He is. He totally is.
He killed this poor girl's dad and
Gave Bubba diabetes. It's funny you pull out the Bubba connection because it seems like that dude, like his whole acting repertoire is getting shot for his friend.
Yeah. For a slow-minded self-nuanced guy, like within 3 years, he's almost died in the arms of Forrest Gump. Well, he did die in the arms of Forrest Gump, and then he dies in the arms of Cameron Poe. Yeah.
Oh, but he did survive. He just got
Yeah, he
shot
did. Yeah,
for Nicolas
yeah, that's true.
Cage. But he
Yeah,
died
yeah.
for Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
And then Nicolas Cage gave him diabetes. God, the whole time after he got the syringe and he's like fighting his way back to the plane, I'm like, well, the syringe is broken now, right? Like,
Oh, right.
He kills Danny Trio with his bare hands and the syringe is fine.
I know.
Yeah,
I thought that. I'm like, why didn't you just take the whole medical box? You're going to break your needles running across all these war zone areas.
the shot you brought up Danny Trio and the shot of him when they find him dead and then they take his body away and his
yeah.
arms just hanging there was so dark. There's
It's
like
so
some
good.
really dark moments in this movie.
I loved it.
But I mean,
Oh, yeah. And the fact that he was like, yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
He just walked him off.
yeah. I mean, that's what would happen, sadly. like when Cyrus flies through that walk thing, like he has no hands. That's what happens.
Oh, yeah. 'cause
Yeah, yeah.
He was handcuffed.
He was handcuffed to the ladder. He's
yeah.
flying through there with no hands.
And let's talk about that death. I mean, he flew through that thing with no hands. He was still on the road, and then he gets teleported to a goddamn concrete crushing facility
Site-
where his
Yeah.
He
head's
skipped
there.
over the electrocution.
Oh yeah, the electrocution.
Yeah. The
And he's
fall,
still
the
alive.
electrocution.
I mean,
Still alive.
This is where you get the phrase overkill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Bayham.
Well, he did crush it in his performance, so he deserved to be crushed at the end. I thought that was.
That's fair. That's fair.
And what about the part? It was so fast, but there's a part where he's like fighting Nicolas Cage, and then a fucking propeller comes through the plane in between.
Between them.
That was so good. That was so good.
Cool shot.
But
Oh, I loved it.
It
Yeah.
totally.
Cool shot, though.
It's totally the "Are we supposed to believe?" shot.
Are we to believe?
If
And we-
if it killed him, then that would have been too far. But the fact that it just went through, I bought it. I was like, okay.
Man,
Yeah.
I mean, it was hilarious. I'll give you that.
Did you have more, Sam? It seemed like you had this whole list.
Listen, you have like a page
No.
in front of you.
I
No,
did
the
write
wrong
down.
thing.
I did write down a lot of comments that I was making. That I was just thoughts that I had when I was watching the movie. I just like Cole Meany. We haven't even spoken about him. I loved him, but I loved how he inexplicably just hated John Cusack. And John Cusack's been trying this entire time to try and save everything, and then it just cuts to that one shot of him in the airplane or in the bloody helicopter, and he's like, "Oh, where is he? Oh, it's probably off saving the fucking rainforest." I'm like,
Yes.
why? Why would he be off saving the rainforest?
It felt so out of left field. And then at the end of the movie, I noticed that John Cusack was wearing sandals with socks. And I was like,
Oh, that was
wait
in
a
the
minute.
beginning.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, when
I
they
missed
introduced it.
Oh.
Oh, see, that puts a whole different spin on it. Suddenly, I feel like, O'Brien was totally correct in his assumption that he sucked. Like, I could not take seriously a law enforcement official who was wearing sandals and socks.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
It
Also,
definitely does bother me. It's this character that's just like angry at everything and causing conflict. But it also bothers me that Cusack is the guy who's always right, but nobody will listen to.
yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Movies like this always need. Why won't
Yeah.
you listen to me? We have to get there. Why won't you listen to me? You can't shoot him down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually a scientist. You have to listen to me, and they don't, and then everything breaks.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the
Volcanoes
classic
don't
idiot in
erupt.
charge. Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. Classic idiot in charge. Speaking of
Yeah.
which, why is the DEA in charge of this situation?
Well, they were trying to interrogate somebody about like a drug thing.
The guy with
Yeah.
the private jet.
What?
What?
guy-
That's who he was supposed to be spying
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy with the private jet.
Oh, yeah.
Because the DEA guy,
Oh,
they
okay.
put the guy on the plane, so that was Cole Meany's
Oh, he was
investment in it.
The guy with the private jet was the Colombian drug lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I know
now it
that,
makes
but like,
sense.
why did they give him so much power to like fly a fleet of like missile carrying helicopters to take down the plane? Like, he's
Yeah,
fucking
I-
DEA.
Bayhem.
I think once his agent was killed, I'm not saying it really makes any sense or that's how it works in the real world, but somehow that meant he was able to take over the situation.
I mean,
Because his
that's
agent
how the
died.
movie justified it, but
Yeah. Oh, I can't explain it to you, Sam.
That sort of brings up another question. Is there a lot of people from Ireland in the DEA? Like, do they all have Irish accents? 'Cause
I was really struggling with that. I was like, oh, he's totally got his Irish accent. No, he's doing an American accent. Like, I kept
it
going
changed
back
from
and
scene to
forth.
scene. Yeah, it totally changed from scene to scene. Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that.
I
Did he
didn't
sound
either.
American to you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know. He just was him.
There's a little bit of the Irish in there, but it's hard to unsee O'Brien.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well,
This
I've
was like
never
a-
seen him as O'Brien, so maybe that's why I didn't.
I was gonna
that
say
view.
it seemed like the whole movie might have been like a holodeck simulation.
Yeah. Well, I was also
In which he got to
thinking-
be the biggest arsehole that he could possibly be on the planet. He was like
Yeah.
living out these weird narcissistic fantasies of just being an arsehole to everyone. Yeah.
It explains why he didn't really care about his car.
Yeah.
And then he had to explain the whole thing to Bashir. Why do you do these things?
He reminded me of the exact same guy from Iron Giant that like wouldn't listen
Oh,
to anybody.
yeah.
The same military dude. It definitely
Mansley.
seems like a military stereotype.
Totally.
All right, well, I guess we should kind of roll around to our final, our final feelings here. Sam, what do you think about this thing?
Old Sam,
You
new
Sam?
Sam.
It's regular Sam.
Sam Prime.
That's so offensive. He's always regular Sam to him.
I'm a regular on the show, so I'm regular
Yes.
Sam.
Got it.
Regular roster.
Guys, I really fucking liked this movie, and I can't tell you why. It's not a good movie, but it was so much fun. I was not bored for 1 second. I was really entertained. I laughed. I cared about the characters. Why? I guess I'm just confused. Like, it shouldn't be good, but it was.
Questioning her whole life.
I'm going to agree with you 100%, only to add the variable. If it's a comedy, it's a great movie. If it's not a comedy, then it's just broken. But I enjoyed it.
What is it listed as? Did you look it? Let's look it up.
God.
What
looking
genre?
it up, Brett, what do you think?
Yeah, guys, I really fucking love this movie. It's a good movie. And I don't know. You guys can rip on it and say, like, it's bad good. I think it's good. This is, like, every single moment of this was gold. I said something about it being, like, you know, not a Schwarzenegger movie. It had so many Schwarzenegger-esque one-liners.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Could Schwarzenegger have played that part?
It would have been a weirder movie.
Guys,
Yeah, a totally weirder movie.
I looked up the genre on IMDb. Action, comma, crime, comma, thriller.
Okay.
Romance.
Romance. Horror.
Yeah, then it's a broken movie.
I love this movie, so that's it. This is a part of my spirit.
This is the spirit I married. I stand by it.
All right, Ash, you ain't never seen the movie before tonight.
Oh, I'm so on Brett's side. I
Yes.
really liked it. It was so good. But, like, I also could understand why you wouldn't like the movie. It feels like, you know, in Hot Fuzz, the movie that they keep watching throughout that's like a buddy cop movie.
Bad Boys 2, which we should also watch.
Yes, it just feels like the type of movie that, like, is totally, like, guys would get around. Yeah, you know, to, like, it feels like Top Gun-ish sort of territory. And, But in my opinion, I feel like this was better. Like, I was just never bored. Like Sam said, I was really entertained. Like, I thought the beginning with the, like, letters back and forth in Nick Cage's monotone voice was hilariously bad, but the rest of the movie, like, I was on the edge of my seat with, like, some of those scenes.
You just said something crazy, which we have learned over the course of doing
That I'm
this
crazy?
podcast. Con Air is a better movie than Top Gun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I never would have believed that shit before we went back and watched them.
It's true, though.
That is messed up.
Yeah. I don't know. It was.
Wow.
Was I the only person
really
who
good.
hated Top Gun? I can't remember now.
I think we all thought it had flaws.
Yeah, I was very disappointed in Top Gun. I remember thinking, so it's a movie about a school.
Yeah.
Like, there's not a war, there's not a conflict of any sort. It's just people going to school.
Hogwarts for planes.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really, really fun and entertaining. And yeah, so many great one-liners. Like, I just knew as I was watching it that Bret was just, like, laughing his ass off too. Like, I wish I had watched this with you in the same room.
All right, Southern Hemisphere Sam, what do you got?
Yay. Yeah, I mean, I unashamedly love this movie. It was great. There's quite a few movies, because we watch them for our podcast, where halfway through I'll pause to look at the time and then I'll look up the runtime and think, oh, shit, you know, blah, 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 you know, can't wait for this to end. This one I looked up the runtime and I was like, no, no, don't end.
Come back, don't go away.
You're getting increasingly more insane. And it's funny because I think what I love the most about this is Nicolas Cage is so batshit insane in most of his films. And in this movie, he was a bit more mellow Cage and he wasn't, you know, full Cage. And I think I got a bit more on board with his character. You know, if he's supposed to be the protagonist of the film, it's hard to get on board when he's so batshit insane. Whereas this one, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Set pieces were great.
You're right.
Random
He wasn't
side
over the
characters
top.
just were amazing. Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah.
So the good news is, if you're bummed that this movie is over, there's lots of great Nicolas Cage movies out there. The problem is you really need to roll the dice.
Yeah.
You do.
I think that's a good point, though, Ash. Is I think I said that at one point while we were watching it. Is I called it over the top. All of the characters are over the top, but none of the acting is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, even we didn't talk about Dave Chappelle was, like, fantastic in this, and his character, he could have been larger than life because it's Dave Chappelle, and, like, instead he, like, was very restrained with his comedy, but it was
I'm a
great.
criminal bitch.
Yeah. That could have happened.
That could have happened. Yeah.
Although most of the racism came from his character, like the
Yeah.
real racism stuff.
Which
so.
kind of made it funny that it was coming from Dave Chappelle in
That
a
was
weird
funny.
way.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
one of those
Yeah.
people who can be racist.
It
and
was
it's
like,
cool.
okay, because it was Dave Chappelle, and you're like, well, he's not serious, you know?
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
All right, so that I guess we had a pretty good time.
Yeah. Good pick, Sam. Southern
Oh, I've loved
Hemisphere,
it.
Sam.
Yeah. Thank you. It's been amazing. Yeah.
So you are a really insightful movie watcher. I
Yep.
think people definitely need to check out your podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you're getting it through the normal means. It's on iTunes and Google Play and
it's-
all those directories.
Yeah, you can find it anywhere. If you just search movie reviews in 20 Qs, and 20 is spelt with the new numbers, so 20. Find it anywhere, and have a listen. It's usually me, my fiance, and a couple of mates, and we just do this sort of stuff, just rip apart a movie in 20 questions. So, yeah.
Awesome.
And it's really fun. I highly recommend it. I've listened to it and enjoy it.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is there a Twitter or anywhere else where people can check you out?
Yep, you can find us on Twitter at Movie Reviews In, and we're on Facebook at Movie Reviews in 20 Qs. Or if they like to get in contact with us the old way, we are mritqs@gmail.com, and always happy to incorporate fan questions and fan suggestions and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Well, thanks for reaching across the planet to join us
Yeah.
to watch Con Air. It's a great time.
Taking
Yeah, this has
time
been
away
awesome.
from your wedding. Hey,
Yeah.
Con Air themed wedding. Just try pitching it. All I'm saying.
I definitely would love to roll down the aisle in Nicolas Cage's wig, but I'm pretty sure I would not see Stacey. I think she'd be hijacking a plane to get the hell out of the country if she saw me doing that.
Just put little airplanes in your centerpieces.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I'm so going to try that.
Ask her what part Nick Cage could play in your wedding.
Oh, you legend.
Okay.
Officiant.
Yes, definitely.
I was going to
Again,
do that.
the lead.
Yeah.
I was considering doing my vows in the way of Nick Cage, like out of Vampire's Kiss, but no, I'm gonna use that instead. Yeah. This is coming out after the wedding. Yes, awesome, thank you. Stacey doesn't need to hear this.
All right, so that I think that was a good time. Thanks for joining us as we watched and picked apart Con Air.
Yeah, if you like the show, this is part of the Last Dash TV network of content. It's this podcast and a YouTube channel with a cooking show, drinking show, video game parodies, and a lot more fun stuff.
Lots of things. We have lots of videos. Go watch them. If you like us, Bret and I have a drinking show, like you said, and we just released. Shut
Thank
up.
you, Zoidberg. We have a drinking show, like you said.
maybe.
You should definitely check it out. They're awesome. I've watched quite a few. Yeah, they're
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, we
Yeah.
just released a gag reel for our Game of Thrones episode, which is pretty great. So check that out. And you can follow us. We're at Laugh-Stash TV on Twitter, or if you want to follow this podcast specifically, we're at Let's Rewatch on Twitter. And normally I tweet a picture of the movie so that you can guess it, but I was so enthralled with this movie, I forgot to do it. I'm sorry.
Wow.
My line. If you liked our podcast, please give us a positive review on Google Play, iTunes, or Stitcher. And we are new to the Spotify network, I guess, if that's what you call it. So welcome, Spotify people.
We're not on a network with them.
Whatever.
They're just distributing.
Are they not a network? I don't know. We're on
It's a
that thing,
website.
Spotify.
Yeah, we're on Spotify though.
We're
Yeah.
a streaming music service.
Yeah. We're on it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can leave reviews on it. If you can, please do.
We'll educate Sam for the future. Don't worry.
I know. I don't use it.
I think you can leave comments on like the things you're listening to on Spotify. So if you want to leave a comment on specific episodes, you can do that, right, Bret?
Yeah, sure.
See, Bret doesn't know either.
And no one will see it.
Give it a try. See what happens.
You know, if you're so inspired, just walk outside of your home or office and just scream into the void, "I love Let's Rewatch," and we'll hear you.
We'll feel it.
Well, so thanks again, Sam Hurley, for joining us. It's a good time and a good movie suggestion.
Yeah, my pleasure. I've had an amazing time. Thank you so much for having me on, guys. It's been amazing.
It's been a lot of fun.
So make sure your podcast feeds are up to date and do whatever people do with Spotify. We'll be back in another 2 weeks for another episode of Let's Rewatch.
Yeah, next time we're going to watch Disco Beaver from Outer Space.
Is that just a bedazzled beaver, like a bedazzled vagina or something?
It's like 3 of my
Oh,
favorite
it
things.
is about a vag.
Oh no.